The quantum detection array lit up like a Christmas tree at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the readings in disbelief, her hands trembling as she reached for her comm unit. After 15 years of scanning the stars for signs of advanced technological signatures, they'd finally found something. But it wasn't what anyone had expected. Director Walsh, she spoke into the comm, her voice steady despite her racing heart. You need to see this. Now. The array hadn't detected a distant signal from another star system. Instead, it had discovered something far more disturbing. A massive network of quantum state observers surrounding Earth's entire solar system. They had been there for centuries, maybe longer, completely undetectable until Sarah's experimental quantum resonance detector came online. Humanity wasn't alone in the galaxy. They were being watched, quarantined. Within hours, the secure facility beneath the Atacama Desert was buzzing with activity. Military officials, scientists, and government representatives from every major nation crowded into the command center, their faces illuminated by the holographic display showing the extent of the alien surveillance network. They're everywhere, Sarah explained, highlighting clusters of quantum observers positioned throughout the solar system. Thousands of them, possibly millions. They've been monitoring every radio transmission, every space launch, every significant technological advancement we've ever made. Director Walsh, a weathered veteran of countless classified projects, studied the data with narrowed eyes. But why reveal themselves now? These devices clearly have the capability to remain hidden. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They didn't reveal themselves. We evolved past their ability to hide. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had unknowingly crossed a technological threshold that the aliens hadn't anticipated. The quantum detection array wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was proof that humans were advancing faster than their watchers had predicted. But the real revelation came 3 days later, when Sarah's team decoded the first fragments of data from the quantum network. The aliens weren't just observing Earth. They were actively suppressing human technological development, subtly manipulating quantum fields to make certain scientific discoveries more difficult. They're afraid of us, Sarah announced to the Emergency Council. These beings, whoever they are, have been deliberately holding us back. The question is, why? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. James Morrison, a young theoretical physicist who had been analyzing the quantum network's energy signatures, burst into the command center with wild eyes. The network isn't just for observation, he exclaimed, pulling up complex mathematical models on the main display. It's a containment system. They're not afraid of what we are. They're afraid of what we're becoming. The data was undeniable. The quantum network was designed to suppress specific types of human neural evolution, subtle changes in brain structure that had begun accelerating over the past century. Changes that, if left unchecked, would make humanity far more adaptable and dangerous than their alien watchers. We're not just another primitive species they're studying, Sarah realized, her voice barely above a whisper. We're something they've never seen before, something they can't predict or control. Director Walsh stood at the center of the command room, his face grave as he addressed the assembled leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two choices. We can alert the public, announce our discovery to the world, and risk provoking our unseen watchers into direct action. Or we can keep this quiet, Sarah finished, understanding dawning in her eyes. Let them think their containment system is still working while we prepare. Use their own deception against them. The decision was unanimous. Operation Silent Dawn was initiated that very night. While the world continued its normal routine, an elite group of scientists, engineers, and military strategists began working in secret to exploit humanity's greatest advantage, the very evolutionary potential their watchers feared. They had no idea how much time they had before the aliens realized their containment had failed. But humanity had one advantage their observers had never considered: the ability to turn their own fear against them. Earth's children were about to show the galaxy why evolution had chosen them to survive. The real deception wasn't the alien surveillance of Earth. It was letting them believe their plan had worked at all. 6 months after the discovery of the quantum containment network, the underground facility in the Atacama had transformed. What began as a research station now resembled a hybrid between a military command center and an evolutionary acceleration chamber. The secrets of the universe were unfolding in ways no one had predicted, least of all the aliens who thought they had humanity safely contained. Maya Patel, barely 22 years old, stood in the center of the neural interface chamber, her mind directly connected to the quantum detection array. She represented humanity's next step, a generation born with subtle but significant changes in neural architecture that the containment field had failed to suppress. The aliens didn't understand what they were dealing with. She explained to Director Walsh, her consciousness simultaneously processing data from thousands of quantum observers. They thought they could prevent our evolution by manipulating quantum fields. Instead, they created the perfect environment for us to adapt to quantum manipulation. The younger generation, it turned out, had developed an innate ability to perceive and interact with quantum states. What the aliens meant as a cage had become a training ground. Every attempt to suppress human consciousness had only forced it to find new pathways, new methods of expansion. Dr. Chen watched from the observation deck as Maya interfaced with the alien technology. "It's like watching a butterfly emerge from a chrysalis," she mused. "They tried to keep us in a cocoon, never realizing they were giving us exactly what we needed to transform." The breakthrough came when Maya's team discovered they could not only detect the quantum network, but actively manipulate it. The aliens' own surveillance system became a vast web of sensors and transmitters under human control. Every device meant to monitor Earth now served as a window into alien civilization. "They have no idea we can see them," Maya reported, her consciousness stretched across the solar system through the quantum network. "Their worlds, their ships, their technology. It's all laid bare to us now, and they're more vulnerable than they know." The aliens, it seemed, had become overly dependent on their quantum technology. Centuries of unchallenged supremacy had led to stagnation. They had stopped evolving, stopped adapting, convinced of their own superiority. It was their greatest weakness. In secure facilities around the world, a new generation of humans trained in secret. They learned to extend their consciousness through the quantum network, to process information at speeds that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. But more importantly, they learned to hide these abilities from their watchers. "We're not just fighting for our survival," Director Walsh addressed the growing ranks of quantum-adapted youth. "We're fighting for our right to evolve, to become what we're meant to be." The aliens chose to trap themselves in a single form, a single way of thinking. "We choose to embrace change." The alien quantum network revealed something else. Earth wasn't the only world under containment. Across the galaxy, dozens of young species were being suppressed, their evolution artificially stunted by the same beings who feared change above all else. Maya's consciousness brushed against others through the quantum web, distant minds from confined worlds, each struggling against their invisible chains. In that moment, she understood humanity's true purpose. "We're not just going to free ourselves," she declared, her eyes glowing with quantum energy. "We're going to free them all. Every species they've tried to cage, every civilization they've tried to stunt. The galaxy is about to remember what it means to evolve." The silent revolution spread through the quantum network like a virus, impossible to detect because it used the aliens' own technology against them. Young minds reached out across light years, connecting, sharing, growing stronger. Earth's children were becoming something new, something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia, a species that embraced change as its greatest strength. In their orbital platforms and distant worlds, the alien observers continued their vigilant watch over Earth, never suspecting that their quarantine had already failed. They didn't understand that evolution wasn't just about physical adaptation. It was about the transformation of consciousness itself. The stage was set for humanity's emergence. But first, they would need to demonstrate just how far they had evolved. Operation Prometheus was about to begin. And with it, the galaxy would learn why trying to contain humanity had been the aliens' greatest mistake. Operation Prometheus began not with a bang, but with a whisper. At precisely 0 hour, Maya Patel and 300 other quantum-adapted humans synchronized their consciousness through the alien network. Their target, the massive quantum containment hub orbiting Proxima Centauri, the nearest staging point for Earth's invisible wardens. Remember, Director Walsh's voice echoed through the neural interface chamber. We're not just fighting with weapons, we're fighting with evolution itself. Show them what humanity has become. The first phase of the operation was subtle, a cascading series of quantum fluctuations that appeared natural to the alien observers. Like a computer virus disguised as system updates, humanity's consciousness spread through the quantum network, building backdoors and hidden pathways. They're responding exactly as predicted, Maya reported, her mind merged with the quantum field. Their systems are detecting the fluctuations, but they're attributing them to normal space-time disturbances. They have no concept of directed quantum evolution. The alien watchers, masters of technology, but slaves to their own stagnation, never imagined that a primitive species could turn quantum mechanics itself into a weapon. They had spent so long manipulating reality through their machines that they'd forgotten how to adapt to reality itself. Dr. Chen monitored the quantum readings from Earth's command center. The containment hub's defenses are impressive, she noted, but they're designed to prevent physical attacks. They never considered that consciousness itself could be a weapon. The hub was a marvel of alien engineering, a structure larger than Earth's moon, designed to project quantum containment fields across multiple star systems. But its very sophistication made it vulnerable to the type of attack humanity had evolved to deliver. Through the quantum network, Maya could sense the alien operators inside the hub. Their consciousness was different, rigid, unchanging. They had achieved immortality through technology, but at the cost of their ability to grow and change. They were like living fossils, preserved in amber of their own making. They're beautiful in their way, Maya communicated to her fellow operators, but they're also tragic. They chose permanence over potential, security over growth. That's why they fear us so much. The second phase of Operation Prometheus began when the hub's quantum field suddenly shifted, creating a momentary blind spot in the alien surveillance network. In that instant, humanity launched their first physical attack, not with warships or missiles, but with something far more threatening. Proof of their evolution. Thousands of quantum-adapted humans projected their consciousness directly into the hub's control systems. The aliens' first warning came when their own technology began responding to human thought patterns, bypassing centuries of security protocols that never accounted for evolved consciousness as an access method. We are humanity. Maya's voice echoed through every quantum receiver in the hub, speaking in the aliens' own quantum language. We are what you feared we would become. But we are not your enemy. We are your wake-up call. The alien operators reacted with a panic that rippled through the quantum network. Their fear was a tangible thing, a shock wave of terror at seeing their greatest nightmare realized. A species that had not only broken free of containment, but had evolved beyond the need for technological crutches. Director Walsh watched the operation unfold with a mixture of pride and anxiety. They're about to make a choice, he said quietly. Either they accept that evolution cannot be contained, or they escalate this into a war they cannot win. The answer came swiftly. Across the galaxy, ancient weapons platforms began powering up. Vast fleets of automated warships emerged from hidden docks. The aliens had chosen conflict over change, just as humanity's psychological models had predicted they would. But humanity was ready. Operation Prometheus wasn't just about demonstrating their evolution. It was about forcing the galaxy's stagnant masters to face their own obsolescence. The real battle wasn't for control of space or technology, but for the right of all species to grow, change, and become something new. As alien warships approached the solar system, humanity prepared for the next phase of their emergence. The network they had built in secret was about to reveal its true purpose, and the galaxy's self-appointed guardians were about to learn why evolution had chosen humanity as its champions. Maya's consciousness reached out to the other suppressed species through the quantum web, sending a simple message: the cage is broken. It's time to evolve. As the alien armada approached Earth, their quantum sensors detected nothing unusual. Their warships, each the size of a small continent, moved with absolute precision through space-time. They had crushed countless civilizations before, their technology perfected through millennia of unchanged development. But they were about to discover that perfection was a form of vulnerability. Maya stood in the neural interface chamber. Her consciousness expanded through the quantum network she and her fellow humans had secretly built. They think they're approaching Earth, she communicated to the command center. They don't realize they're sailing into our ocean. For the past year, while the aliens watched Earth's surface for signs of conventional military buildup, humanity had been seeding the galaxy with something far more dangerous: quantum-entangled nodes that could instantly transmit consciousness across any distance. The aliens' own containment network had provided the perfect blueprint. "Show me," Director Walsh commanded, his voice steady despite the tension. The main display lit up, revealing the true extent of humanity's preparation. Millions of microscopic quantum receivers floated in the space between stars, each one capable of extending human consciousness exponentially. But the real surprise wasn't the technology. It was what that technology had allowed humanity to discover. "We're not alone in our evolution," Dr. Chen explained, highlighting different sectors of space. "Every suppressed species the aliens tried to contain has been developing in their own way. The quantum network didn't just let us communicate with them, it let us synchronize our evolution." The alien warships entered the first layer of humanity's true defense network. Instantly, their quantum systems began experiencing inexplicable anomalies. Reality itself seemed to ripple around them as thousands of evolved consciousnesses pressed against their ship's quantum shields. They built their empire on the assumption that technology alone determined superiority. Maya observed, her mind touching the alien vessels through the quantum field. They never considered that consciousness itself could evolve beyond their ability to control it. Through the network, humanity had made contact with dozens of species, each one supposedly contained and suppressed by the alien watchers. The Dendrians, gas giant beings who had evolved to manipulate gravity itself. The Kyrax, silicon-based life forms who could process information through crystalline networks spanning entire planets. The Mirians, energy beings who had learned to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Each species had found their own way to adapt despite the containment, their evolution taking paths the aliens had never imagined possible. Now, connected through humanity's quantum network, they were ready to act as one. Now, Maya commanded, and consciousness itself became a weapon. The alien warships found their quantum systems overwhelmed by a type of intelligence they had never encountered, a unified field of evolved consciousness that moved through their defenses like water through a sieve. Their perfect technology, unchanged for millennia, had no defense against minds that could adapt and change in real time. Their fatal flaw was believing that evolution could be controlled, Dr. Chen said, watching as alien ship after alien ship lost control of their quantum systems. They tried to force the galaxy to remain static, never understanding that change is the only constant in the universe. The alien commanders, faced with an enemy they couldn't comprehend, did the only thing they knew how to do. They escalated. Weapons platforms that could shatter planets powered up. Dimensional shears capable of ripping space-time began to align. But humanity and their allies were ready for this too. The quantum network hadn't just connected evolved consciousnesses, it had allowed them to share their evolutionary advantages. Through the network, humans could now manipulate gravity like the Dendrians, process information like the Kyrax, and exist in multiple dimensions like the Mirians. This is why they feared us, Maya realized, Her consciousness expanded through the network. Not because of what we are, but because we can become anything. We can adapt, evolve, and help others do the same. Director Walsh watched as the alien fleet's formation began to break apart, their perfect order dissolving in the face of an enemy that defied their understanding of reality itself. They thought they were gods, he said quietly, but they forgot that even gods must evolve or die. The network had become more than just a defense system. It was proof that evolution could not be contained. As the alien warships retreated in disarray, humanity prepared for the final phase of their emergence. The galaxy's self-appointed guardians would have one last chance to accept change or face extinction at the hands of the very forces they had tried to suppress. The alien warships retreated to their last stronghold, a massive artificial structure at the galaxy's core that served as both their capital and the source of their power. Known as the Eternal Nexus, it was where their species had first chosen stagnation over change, immortality over evolution. Now it would become the site of their final confrontation with the force they feared most, change itself. Maya stood in the neural interface chamber one last time. Her consciousness extended through the quantum network that now spanned the galaxy. Through it, she could feel the presence of billions of minds. Humans and their alien allies, all evolved beyond what their watchers had thought possible. "They're preparing something," she reported, her consciousness brushing against the quantum field surrounding the Nexus. Something old, something they sealed away eons ago. Dr. Chen's instruments detected massive energy fluctuations around the artificial structure. They're accessing technologies they haven't used since before they began their containment program. Whatever they feared enough to lock away, they're desperate enough to release now. Through the quantum network, the allied species shared their collective knowledge. The Dendrian's gravity sense revealed vast machines powering up within the Nexus. The Kyrax's crystalline networks detected patterns in the quantum field that suggested reality itself was being manipulated. The Mirian's multidimensional awareness showed disturbances in the fabric of space-time. "They're trying to reset the galaxy," Maya realized with sudden clarity. "Return everything to a state before evolution began. They'd rather end all life than allow it to change beyond their control." Director Walsh's face was grim. "Can we stop them?" "We can do better than that," Maya replied. "We can show them what they've been running from all this time." The quantum network hummed with power as every evolved consciousness in the galaxy focused on a single point, the Eternal Nexus itself. But instead of attacking, they did something the aliens never expected. They offered understanding. Through the network, humanity and their allies shared not just their thoughts, but their experience of evolution itself. The joy of discovery, the thrill of change, the endless possibility of becoming something new. They showed the aliens what they had sacrificed in their quest for unchanging perfection. "Your fear of change made you forget what you once were," Maya's consciousness echoed through the Nexus. "You were explorers once, dreamers. You evolved naturally until you decided that perfection meant never changing again. But look what that fear cost you." The ancient machines within the Nexus powered down as confusion rippled through the alien consciousness. For the first time in millennia, they were forced to confront the truth. Their quest for perfection had turned them into exactly what they had originally sought to transcend: unchanging, ungrowing things that could only destroy what they didn't understand. "Evolution isn't your enemy," Maya continued, her consciousness touching the alien minds directly now. "It's not chaos or destruction. It's life's answer to every challenge, every obstacle. It's how the universe learns about itself." Through the quantum network, they showed the aliens a different future, one where change was embraced, where evolution was guided rather than suppressed, where consciousness itself could expand in infinite directions. They offered the aliens not defeat, but transformation. In the Eternal Nexus, something extraordinary began to happen. The aliens' rigid consciousness, maintained unchanged for countless millennia, began to shift. Like ice melting after an endless winter, their minds began to remember how to change. "They're evolving," Dr. Chen whispered, watching the quantum readings spike in patterns she'd never seen before. All of them, all at once. The galaxy held its breath as the species that had once appointed themselves its guardians faced their greatest fear, the possibility of becoming something new. The moment of choice had arrived. In the end, it wasn't humanity's weapons or technology that won the war. It was their fundamental nature, their ability to change, to grow, and to help others do the same. They had become not just champions of evolution, but teachers, showing the galaxy that change was not something to be feared, but embraced. The eternal nexus transformed, its unchanging structure beginning to shift and grow in new ways. The aliens' choice was made. They would learn to evolve again, to become part of the great dance of change that moved through all living things. Maya smiled as she felt the shift ripple through the quantum network. Humanity had done more than free themselves. They had reminded the galaxy of what it meant to be truly alive. The age of containment was over. The age of evolution had begun. What happens now? Director Walsh asked, watching as the quantum network blazed with the light of billions of evolving minds. "Now," Maya replied, her consciousness touching the infinite possibilities that lay before them. "Now we become what we were always meant to be, all of us together. And this time, no one will try to stop us." The galaxy's children were finally free to grow up.